So my name's Cole. What's your name?
Corey.
Corey? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So Corey, we're asking people the question today, is only factory farming bad?
Okay.
And in your mind, like how would you describe factory farming?
I think of like chickens stuck in a little metal crate, not being able to move, and fed lots of chemicals to fatten them up quick. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, you know.
Okay.
And I don't really want to eat that stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, one statistic, 99% of animals killed for food come from factory farms. Were you aware of that? Or
No, I wasn't aware of that, and I think people should, eat more vegetables, and we need to work on our diets, and even I want to start fasting more, and go
Yeah.
that route.
Yeah, I could benefit from some fasting. I'm kind of a bigger dude. So what about putting chickens in those conditions to where they're crammed into a tiny cage in their own feces, on the way to slaughter? What about doing that? What makes it wrong to do that to a chicken?
Like, I just think that would you like that done to you,
Yeah.
you know?
So would you agree that chickens can like feel pain and know they exist like humans do on some level?
I'd imagine that, like, how do you want to treat your kids? Like, chickens should be kind of nourished a bit, they should have a little bit of room. They should have, a little bit of options.
Yeah. Right. Right. Because the confinement is really a form of like torture for these animals. Would
Seems
you
like it
would you
probably.
agree with that?
Yeah, it's almost like if you see the ones that have birth defects, and all the other ones gang up on it, and they'll kill it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. These chickens that people eat for food, whether they're on a quote unquote factory farm or a farm that you wouldn't think of as a factory farm, you know, um, they're bred unnaturally. They get much larger than they're supposed to be. Or if they're an egg laying hen, they'll lay about 300 eggs per year instead of like 10 to 13. So their bodies are very unnatural and they're in a lot of pain and discomfort from just existing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of human condition that is kind of like that too, and I wish that we'd work on all aspects of life. Be it chicken or our brother man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
This question may be a little bit more controversial, but what do you think about like slavery? What are your thoughts on slavery?
well, I believe that there's darkness that does it to us all the time. It's we got to make our best effort to try to do the right thing.
Yeah. Would you say that when chickens are exploited for food, when they're put in those cages, that they're being enslaved by humans?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
Yeah.
I just don't want to eat that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Have you ever heard of being vegan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that, on being vegan?
It takes a lot of willpower and it takes some planning and stuff. But I mean, like, if everybody did it, it'd kind of be more mainstream, I think. So
Yeah, for sure. The more people that go vegan, the less animals that will be confined and killed for food. Because from my perspective, right, there's not a compassionate way to kill an animal who doesn't want to die. So even if they weren't on a factory farm, if they were on if they had lots of space, that's not regular conditions, factory farms are, but if they had plenty of space, I still think it would be wrong to pay someone to take them and slit their throats and consume their bodies when we don't have to.
check it out. I'm a commercial fisherman,
Yeah.
and I could fill up one of these stores with dead crab, and I could probably do the same with tuna that I killed. But I believe it's all part of nature, and I think that's God's plan for them. But then again, they're just wild, and they got to live their lives. So, yeah,
Yeah. I think fish are like us in that they feel pain and they want to live. And we don't have to exploit them. I know it'd be hard for you to get another job, You know,
No,
you've
I
probably been
have.
in the industry for a very long time.
I have got a different job, but it's like it's actually it's a beautiful thing, to go out there and bring in a bunch of that's obnoxious. Anyways, yeah, no, bait fishing for tuna. Like they served a purpose. So I mean, I like a tuna sandwich. I mean, and like I agree that you can see in their barrel eyes right before you cut them that they're worried and stuff, but they go quick, and it's
Would
that's
that
just
be a good enough excuse to take a human life if they would go quickly, Or would it still be wrong to take a human life when we don't have to?
I guess that just is if there's something else above us that did that to us, then that's just probably what happened.
Yeah. But,
It's better. It's better than fentanyl or carfentanil.
Yeah.
Like killing you.
Yeah.
And who's giving that to people?
Yeah, that
Where's
stuff's
that coming
messed
from?
up. Me personally, I wouldn't want someone to cut my throat and eat my body when they don't have to. And us as humans, we can be vegan and we can live without exploiting animals and consuming their bodies.
Right.
I used to fish a lot too. It was one of my favorite hobbies growing up.
Right.
But once I realized that, kind of like you were saying, that there's something going on in there, with those fish, they have a perception of the world, they have memories, they feel pain, just like we do.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped fishing after I went vegan.
That's
So,
cool that you're vegan, man. Like, I got bigger fish to fry. Like, I'm a recovering addict, and
Same
and,
here.
and an alcoholic. So, I mean, I have a hard enough time making it to 2 meetings a day and trying to go to church on the weekend. I mean, going to church on the weekend and trying to figure out what God's plan is for my life to really, concentrate
Yeah.
so much on other stuff. But maybe someday it will come, and then
Yeah.
it will be, His will, and then it will be awesome.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Just like with you, it obviously came into your life and it was great,
Yeah.
and now you're out here standing up for it, and that's good.
For sure. Do you think God would want animals to be treated compassionately?
I believe God, I believe there's a food chain, and I believe that He put animals here for, not for us to like worship or anything, of course, but just
Yeah.
for our nourishment. So that's all I got. Okay.
All right.
Have a good day.
Hey, can I leave you with a booklet?
Sure.
All right.